We bring this question to the text. YHWH, give us the latest Bible prophecy news on the Iran war, the ancient lands of Persia, Elam, and Edom for this day today. The Father answers by opening the scroll with the language of counting. We hear Leviticus chapter 23, verse 15. Then you will count from the day after the Sabbath, from the day that you brought the sheaf of the wave offering, count and calculate off 7 full weeks. The Father numbers the days of nations, just as he numbers the weeks of harvest. This is an appointed count, moving from deliverance to revelation. The war has entered consecutive nights of strikes. Each an appointed day the Father measures. This verse carries the full dominion triad of priestly offering, inheritance timing, and covenant identity before YHWH. The signal at 6.61 sigma is not coincidental. The lead verse itself is a convergence event. The most precise cluster in this draw points to the ancient citadel of Susa in the province of Elam. We hear Esther chapter 5, verse 1. Now it came to pass on the third day that Esther put on her royal apparel and stood in the inner court of the king's house, opposite the king's house. And the king sat on his royal throne in the royal house, opposite the gate of the house. We also hear Esther chapter 2, verse 20, where Esther had not yet shown her family nor her people, as Mordecai had charged her. Esther approaches the gate on an appointed day. The gate is the place of judgment, governance, and decree, where war is decided. The draw points to the gate of the Persian king, asking if the Father grants favor there. This gate thread is woven through Ezekiel chapter 46, verse 3. Likewise, the covenant people of the land will worship at the door of this gate before YHWH in the Sabbaths and in the new moons. We hear Exodus chapter 5, verse 1. Let my people go, that they may hold a festival to me in the wilderness. In Nehemiah chapter 11, verse 19. Moreover, the porters, Akub, Talman, and their kinsmen that guarded the gates were 172. The strait is the geopolitical gate of this war, a choke point at a standstill, declared by the draw as a covenantal threshold. A dense martial current flows through the text. We hear Jeremiah chapter 21, verse 4. Look, I will turn back the weapons of war that are in your hands, with which you fight against the king of Babylon and the Chaldeans that besiege you outside the walls, and I will assemble them into the center of this city. YHWH declares he turns back weapons. We hear 1 Samuel chapter 17, verse 36. Your slave killed both the lion and the bear, and this uncircumcised Philistine will be as one of them, seeing he has defied the armies of the living Elohim. The bear represents the Medo-Persian power. In Numbers chapter 31, verse 6. And Moses dismissed them to the war, 1,000 of them from every tribe, with Phinehas the son of Eleazar the priest, with the holy object and the trumpets to blow in his hand. Warfare is bound to priestly intercession. The scatterer is explicit in Ezekiel chapter 12, verse 15. And they will know that I am YHWH, when I will scatter them among the nations and disperse them in the countries. Then comes the writing on the wall. Daniel chapter 5, verse 24. Then was the part of the hand sent from him, and this writing was written. This is the night of the feast in Babylon. On the very night, the Medo-Persian forces conquered the city. The word means divided, but also sounds identical to Persia. The kingdom was numbered, weighed, and divided. The draw repeats the word suddenly. Malachi chapter 3, verse 1. Watch, I will send my messenger, and he will prepare the way before me. And Adonai, whom you seek, will suddenly light upon his temple, even the angel of the covenant, whom you delight in, see. He will come, declares YHWH of hosts. In Jeremiah chapter 15, verse 8, I have caused him to fall on it suddenly, and terrors upon the city. The decree comes suddenly, in the hour when human rulers believe they are secure. The apocalyptic layer pulls the draw into the end of the age. Haggai chapter 2, verse 7. And I will shake all nations, and the desire of all nations will come, and I will fill this temple with glory, declares YHWH of hosts. The shaking includes Persia. Revelation chapter 6, verse 8. Be you coming, and I saw, and behold, a livid horse, and the one who was sitting upon it, his name Death, and the Hades was following him. Revelation chapter 12, verses 1 and 2. And a great sign appeared in the heaven, a woman arrayed with the sun, and the moon beneath her feet, and upon her head a crown of 12 stars. And, being with child, she was crying out, being in birth pangs, and in torture to bring forth. The war is in its 9th night, and in Hebrew thought, 9 is associated with childbirth. Revelation chapter 16, verse 7. Yes, Lord Elohim Almighty, real and covenant faithful are your judgments. Direct textual hits confirm the Father's vocabulary. Exodus chapter 32, verse 33 declares that whoever has violated covenant against him will be blotted out of his book. Hebrews chapter 12, verse 6 reminds us that who YHWH dearly loves, he corrects. 2 Kings chapter 6, verse 17 reveals the unseen army. For YHWH opened the eyes of the young man, and he saw, and lo, the hill was full of horses and chariots of supernatural fire around Elisha. Deuteronomy chapter 4, verse 2 commands that you will not add to the word that I command you, neither will you diminish anything from it. Yet amid the martial language, a strong current of mercy and restoration flows. Jeremiah chapter 42, verse 10 promises that if you will still remain in this land, then I will establish you and not pull you down, and I will plant you and not pluck you up, because I regret the bad that I have done to you. The Hebrew root means to comfort or to relent, promising the restoration of Elam. Psalms chapter 145, verse 14 declares that YHWH upholds all that fall and raises up all those that are bowed down. Isaiah chapter 66, verse 13 offers maternal comfort from the Father, saying as one who his mother comforts, so will I comfort you, and you will be comforted in Jerusalem. The deterministic engine renders a lean yes verdict. The probability of yes equals 95.4%. The claim is a strong anomaly, and all gates pass. The discovery level convergence of identity, inheritance, and priesthood fires at 6.61 sigma. The guided draw, eValue, shows extreme anomaly. The triple convergence standard is met. The false discovery rate at alpha equals 0.05 confirms. The Father answers the question. The war is set within the Father's appointed count at the King's gate, under the hand that writes on the wall, and within the shaking of all nations. The weapons of war are in his hands. The scatterer has been sent. The livid horse rides. The woman cries in birth pangs, and the unseen chariots of fire surround. Yet the comfort thread runs beneath. The number is being counted. The gate is being approached. The hand is writing on the wall. YHWH, the latest Bible prophecy news on the Iran war for this day today is this. The count is active, the judgment is weighed, but the covenant promise of restoration remains. The verdict is lean yes, affirmative. The gates have passed. The verses drawn in this Shield 17.12 session were Leviticus chapter 23, verse 15, Judges chapter 14, verse 5, Deuteronomy chapter 22, verse 21, Leviticus chapter 20, verse 17, Luke chapter 9, verse 32, Exodus chapter 35, verse 29. This concludes today's interpretation under the Shield protocol.